How's it going, everyone? My name is Michael SK, and welcome back to Chaos Head Noah. The previous episode was pretty damn interesting, I have to admit. The Committee of 300, if it is actually them, made a little bit of an appearance. Kinda, but kinda not. They were messaging Sena and Takumi through a broken monitor in order to, work with them. Tell them, hey, we need you to take down the Project Noah, stop Norasei, and bring balance to the Force or whatever. And so, by doing all of that, if they were to go ahead with it, and it seems like they are, they will get a quote-unquote cheat code. So they are off to go deal with that. However, Hatano here is chilling behind, I think. Hatano Issei watched his daughter and Nishijo Takumi leave until they fell out of sight, and once they did, he took a seat in the middle of the rubble. I wish to talk with God for just a moment longer. As he became the last remaining person in the room, he said those words into the air. His daughter Sena had looked like she had something to tell him, but instead she had simply thrown a sharp glare his way, only to click her tongue, turn her head away, and leave without saying a word. Nothing had escaped Hatano's lips either.
300人委員会まだ見ているのか?
He faced the silent pitch-black monitor and called out to it. There was no response for a while, leaving Hatano to continue staring emptily at the monitor. Eventually, the screen roared back to life, displaying the chat log from before. Oh, yep, they're here. It responded with Y, meaning yes.
なぜセナと西条匠なんだ?
With Shibuya in its current state, they were the Gigalomaniacs.
300人委員会にとってこちらの世界はどのような定義なんだ? ゲームか実験場か牧場か?
Okay, hold on. With Shibuya in its current state, they were the Gigalomaniacs we had at the highest likelihood of establishing contact with. That is all. There is no ulterior motive behind that, or beyond it. The worldwide human domestication project is merely the delusion born of a certain selection of conspiracy theorists. As we stated before, we do not directly intervene in your world. The Worldwide Human Domestication Project, a term that would find its way into any discussion about the famous Committee of 300 conspiracy. Those who know of the conspiracy speculate that the Committee of 300 means to establish a one-world government to unify the world, and once they do, they shall guide the world through the creation of a new world order. Aside from a selection of chosen people, all of humanity will be subjected to semi-permanent brainwashing applied via a silent weapon, turning them into mindless slaves. Just like livestock, their flesh, milk, labor, children, and very lives, shall endlessly be stolen away by the elite. Should this be realized, it would perhaps be humanity's cruelest, most systematic utopia of all. Unknowingly having their wills stolen from them, and being automated as livestock, the remains of humanity would be constantly exploited, all while continuing to live their lives in blissful ignorance. As they would have no way to know of their exploitation, they would never raise any objections nor rebel against their circumstances.
世界人間牧場計画が妄想だとしても沈黙の兵器は妄想ではない。現にノア2が存在している。
That is related to our current error, the error born from you, Nishijo Takumi, and Norasei Genichi.
お前たちの秩序のもとに置かれるのか。無自覚の奴隷としてお前たちに搾取され続けるのか。
Hell yeah, we are putting our best efforts into fixing this error. As Hatano spoke, a horrifying possibility stemming from his own words came to him, and his brow furrowed.
世界人間牧場計画はすでに完了している。
You produce an interesting concept, but that is not quite the right way to put it.
最初の質問に答えろ。
Now hold on. To correctly express it from the viewpoint of God, you were already livestock from the moment of this world's inception. Nevertheless, this is nothing but a hypothetical.
300人委員会にとって こちらの世界はゲームなのか実験場なのか牧場なのか。
In response to Hatano, whoever fell silent. The time has come.
時間とは何のことだ。
The Committee of 300 must remain an entity of shadow, one that is spoken of only in conspiracy theories. Anyone who knows too much must be disposed of. Much like Inohana and Kuromochi before you. None of you are exceptions to this rule. So are they going to do something to everybody here? You three became pawns the moment we established contact. Oh. The monitor abruptly went black. It was no different than a death sentence.
Sena.
I don't think we're getting a cheat code, guys. Low-key, I don't think we're getting nothing. Clamping his teeth down on his lip, Hatano frantically stood up. If he left now, perhaps he would still be able to catch the two of them before they reached Shibuya Station. He had to tell them that it was a trap. He did not want to let his daughter die. After killing his wife and second daughter, she was the only family he had left. No matter how much hatred she held for him, all he wanted was for her to live. For this reason, Hatano ran. And yet in the end, he was not able to escape the Nozomi Technology Building. For before he could, the sound of an explosion combined with a furious vibration ripped through the building. It was not collapsing due to the earthquake, however, the sound alone told him it was by the hand of man. But knowing this did not change his fate. The ground beneath his feet collapsed, and as if the lid had been lifted off the cauldron of hell itself, the earth opened wide and swallowed up the insignificant existence that was Hatano Issei. That is unfortunate. I mean, I'm in a strong belief that the Committee of 300 is of real people, but real people can do a lot of things that make you think that, oh shit, this is probably completely all fictional. So, I do think that this is by the hand of man, everything that happened there. I don't know how the hell they were able to establish a contact like that, but I'm sure there's an explanation for it, for everything, really. Going on a walk through Shibuya finally helped things sink in. I finally came to terms with just how horrifying the earthquake that had hit the city truly was. Not a single trace of the once dazzling city remained. The city was dead. Shibuya was now a city of death. Countless unmoving bodies littered the streets, some lying alone, others piled on top of one another. Various sections of the main road were deeply stained with pools of blood. Nothing was alive, everyone was dead. Everyone. Hatano-san had said something earlier about the casualties being in the thousands, and the sole cause of all of this suffering was Noah 2. And this wasn't a natural disaster, it wasn't even any kind of disaster at all. This was an atrocity, a massacre. Sena, who was just a few steps behind me, had an intense look of sorrow on her face. Hatano-san hadn't come with us. We had left him behind at the Nozomi Technology Building. They were father and daughter, apparently, but they didn't really act like it. It felt like Sena had some, sort of one-sided intense hatred toward her father. They had mentioned Sena's mother and younger sister during their conversation. What had happened between the two of them? Whatever it was, it must have been what had led to Sena's heart and mind being broken. Despite me wondering that, I didn't plan on asking for some detailed account of what had happened or anything. Not that I knew how to in the first place. Besides, our number one priority at the moment was obtaining the cheat code. Once we had that, I wouldn't need Sena to protect me anymore. I'd be able to live on my own. Haha, supposedly. I mean, from the get-go, I knew that was a little sus. Suddenly, a rumbling sound came from behind me. Thinking it was another earthquake, I immediately got down on my hands and knees, but the ground wasn't what was shaking. I slowly and cautiously looked behind me, toward where the Nozomi main office we were just in should have been standing. Smoke was pouring into the sky. It looked like the end result of an erupting volcano, and the building that should have been there wasn't there. Oh god, had it collapsed? But Hatano-san was still in there. Nice. A small whimper escaped Sena's lips. She looked up at the smoke filling the sky in a daze.
父さん
After a moment, she noticed my gaze and quickly turned the other way. However, her shoulders continued to tremble.
こんなことなら私がこの手で殺しておくんだった殺しておけば
Yeah, she never really got the opportunity to be the one that actually kills him. Like, in any rendition.
あの人も生き返らせればいい。
Once we got our hands on the cheat code, we could do that. There was no reason we couldn't, as long as we believed in whoever the fuck had said.
殺すために生き返らせるのか非効率的だな
Sena laughed to herself, but her voice was muffled by her tears. I didn't really know what to say to her, so I just hung my head. Sena fought back her tears for a while, but eventually, as if she'd made up her mind about something, she started moving forward once again. And now, not a single tear remained on her face. I hurriedly followed after her. I wonder how this showdown with Norase is gonna go. Underground Shibuya Station was home to both the Hanzoman Line and the newly constructed Fukutoshin Line, which had a far more complicated structure to it. There was also a Ginza Line platform located 2 floors above ground, but it was still treated as a subway service. Ask pretty much anyone and they'd tell you the place was pretty much a dungeon. And not only that, but the earthquake had caused all stairways leading underground to collapse, and now they were all buried in rubble. Sena had been able to use her D-sword to blast away the rubble and clear a path for us, so it hadn't posed much of a problem. But due to the lack of proper lighting, finding the right coin locker had been taking a lot more time than expected. And if that weren't enough, the air filtration system had stopped, leaving the air disgusting and filled with dust. My coughing refused to stop, to the point where I felt like I was going to die. And the stench of death wafting off of the scattered corpses didn't help either. Yeah, I'm sure breathing that in would be just a lovely time.
これか
Sena had finally located the coin locker, which was somehow standing tall with no signs of any noticeable damage. To our astonishment and subsequent relief, the locker still had power running to it, something that was made clear by the bright glow of the IC card reader. Please make a selection was displayed on the screen. Retrieve and deposit were the only 2 available buttons.
本当にこんな何の変哲もないロッカーにチートコードが置いてあるのか
The locker had been there since before the earthquake. A whole bunch of customers would have passed through here before us. On a normal day, no one would have paid it any mind. Just how many people actually use lockers like these in the first place? I couldn't imagine there'd be that many. Upon closer inspection, it occurred to me that almost all of the other lockers were buried in rubble. And behind that single closed door was something beyond imagination. Urban legends like that had been floating around for decades. It wasn't especially strange or anything like that. It was fairly grounded in reality, actually. A small container that you can find very easily throughout your ordinary life, housing something extraordinary. That was the idea behind it. When I pushed the retrieve button, a message popped up saying, "Please scan your card."
箱の中に残っているのは希望かあるいは絶望か
I don't know. I actually have absolutely no idea what to expect here. Sena dug out her IC card from her pocket and slowly approached the screen. With an electronic beep, the sound of a lock releasing came from the locker. The sound echoed ominously throughout the dead silent underground. Just open it up. Sena and I stood anchored to the spot, and then we both checked our surroundings. We'd at last come face to face with the cheat code, What form it would take, neither of us knew. Please don't let it be something gross or anything gory. Personally, if I had the choice, I'd I'd want it to be a Seraton figure. Yeah, that would be the best possible outcome. Sena wiped off the sweat beading on her brow.
1009番だったな。
The locker we were looking at was the second from the left and third from the top. The door was fairly big and it had 1009 written on it. The locker was ever so slightly ajar. All we could see inside that slight gap was uncertain, unending darkness. Sena and I stared at the locker, frozen in place. You open it. Even though she didn't say it out loud, I could feel Sena telling me that. Granted, I was doing the same thing. We were both equally cowardly. Come on, you do it, I told her inside my head. I thought about letting a game of rock, paper, scissors make the decision for us, but it wasn't the time to mess around like that.
セナが
Should open it was what I was going to say, but I was interrupted.
開けろ、西条。
Sena took a step back and readied her sword.
もしもの場合は、私が援護する。
What the hell do you mean just in case?
急げ！
I still felt like she was gonna stick me with the tip of her sword any second now. My throat went dry from the anxiety, but my recently unearthed hope resurfaced once again. If I surpass this trial, I can become a hero. With this adage etched upon my heart, I summoned all of my remaining courage. I placed my hand on the half-open locker door.
開けるよ。
あ、
I slowly opened the door. It opened easier than I expected. Yeah, it's a locker. And inside I found...
なんだ、これは。
Is that a child? Sena and I peeked into the locker at a loss for words. A white bundle of cloth. It was bigger than I expected. But right when I reached out to touch it... Yeah, that's a child. I pulled my hand back in a panic at the sudden voice. It's... No way, it's...
赤ちゃん。
A live baby that had been in the locker? I mean, it had been decades since then, but abandoned children being found in coin lockers had been a fairly large social issue at one point. But for it to be happening now? Some Yakuza like a dragon shit. Wait, that didn't matter right now. Where was the cheat code? I double-checked the locker number. It was unmistakably 1009, so that must have been it. Sena gently picked it up and it continued to wail, handling it like a fragile object that would fall to pieces if she let go of it. The baby's cries grew louder and louder. Sena grimaced as her body stiffened and locked in place. She looked at me with pleading eyes.
西条、助けろ。どうしたらいいんだ。
Why ask me? What the fuck? I'm not saying that.
死ね。
Her glare pierced through me. She had overheard my delusion just now.
多分この赤ちゃんがチートコードだよ。
I mean, if we thought about what they said... Yeah, it could take any form. They don't know what form it's gonna take. If the baby was the G code, it wouldn't activate unless we destroyed it. Destroy it. In other words, kill it. I went silent and Sena glared daggers at me. She shielded the baby with her arms.
できない。できるわけないだろう。あの地震をこんな暗くて狭い場所でたった一人で生き延びたんだぞ。
それはチートコードだよ。地震が起きた後にここに現れたんだ。それは人間じゃない。そう見えてるだけで。
あの自称300人委員会の言葉を信じればな。もし違ったら、あるいはもともとここに置き去りにされていたこの子に後からチートコードだけを埋め込んだかもしれないんだぞ。
I cowered at Sena's horrifically menacing look. Even so, I frantically shot back my rebuttal without looking her in the eye.
だってしょうがないじゃないか。それを壊さないとチートが。
If I lost to Sena here, I'd end up losing the cheat code, and I'd stay an otaku freak for the rest of my miserable life.
この子に触ってみろ西条。この子のぬくもりを感じてみろ。こんな小さい子、お前は殺せるのか？
Oh yeah, you can kind of see some hair on it there, I didn't realize. Of course I can, I'm completely harmless. That's why you need to do it, Sena. But I couldn't actually say any of that.
セナは矛盾してる。ここに来るまでは やる気満々だったじゃないか。世界は電気仕掛けなんでしょ。だったらその子も単なる人形だ。
でも泣いてる。
Sena gently embraced the baby. She had such a tender and loving expression on her face, I couldn't believe she was the same ill-tempered girl from before.
この子は今泣いてるんだ西条。
Yes, so was your little sister, supposedly. Sorry, that was fucked up. She was a total mess. Had Sena been just a complete fucking schizo all along?
チートを発動させてノア2を壊さなきゃ君の家族だって生き返らないぞ。なんでためらうんだよ。
この子は生きているからだ。殺せない。私には。
Yep, there it is. There it is. I knew it. I was actually about to turn off the music because I was going to be like, hey guys, that sounds a little familiar. That sound, that little whatever the fuck sound that the porters make.
Huh?
But I knew Suo was eventually going to make his move. Well, I wasn't really expecting that to be his move. A thunderous roar. Unsure of what had just happened, I reflexively crouched down. Staying like that, I took a look around me and spotted a single silhouette standing outside the Fukutoshin line ticket gate. They were gripping something that looked like a gun and they were pointing it in our direction. Sena croaked, and when I looked over at her, I saw her hands covered in blood. But it wasn't hers, it was coming from the baby she was cradling. The white towel the baby was wrapped up in was turning crimson.
死んじゃう。私は見殺しに。
Sena's entire body trembled violently.
相変わらず自分の射撃の腕素晴らしすぎっすよね。
Yeah, he actually had really good aim there. I don't know what the distance is. I would assume it's pretty reasonable. But yeah, I mean, he could have easily shot her, and he didn't. Like, he didn't miss either. He shot the baby. The man continued to walk towards us with the most casual smile on his face. On his back, the man wore a rucksack that clashed heavily with his suit.
こんなところで何の相談してるんすか？っていうかその赤ん坊なんなんす？もしかしてあれっすか？二人の隠し子できちゃった？最近の高校生はなってないっすね。
Ah, come on.
ま、別にどうでもいいっすけど。自分は君たちを始末しに来たんすよ。ノア2の近くで目障りなことされると困るんで。
Was he related to Nozomi? I felt like I'd seen him somewhere before. He was carrying a gun. Normal people didn't carry a gun, you know, unless USA. He was gonna kill us. We had to run.
さて、それじゃあまずそっちの危なっかしい通り魔女子高生から始末しましょうかね。
The man raised his gun and pointed it directly at Sena. But she didn't react at all, still clutching the baby she had broken down in sobs. What do I do? We've got the cheat code now. What the hell do I do? I should be invincible now. There's no way I can protect Sena. If I'm invincible, then I can be reckless and stupid and be perfectly fine. I don't think anybody's perfectly fine.
師匠
I had shielded Sena. A fierce pain exploded in my chest, followed by a burning heat that felt like I had caught on fire. My uniform was stained in blood. I'd been shot.
おーっとかっこいいっすね西条匠くん。身を挺して女を守るなんて男の鏡っす。でもそれもいつまで持つかな。
Well, if that continues to happen, probably not much longer. Each time a gunshot ripped through the air, another bullet opened a hole in my body. It's usually how it goes. My blood splattered everywhere. The pain eroded my nerves. Sena was still frozen in place, looking at me with tears in her eyes as she cradled the baby. Over half of the white towel was now covered in a deep shade of red. I could no longer tell if that blood was mine or the baby's.
西条違う違う
You don't say.
このままじゃ
チートコードを使って。
でも私どうしたら
Eat the baby, it'll be funny. This wasn't good. I was gonna lose consciousness. It hurts, it hurts, it hurts. I never asked to go through pain like this. With the cheat code, I should be invincible, but if Sena doesn't activate it, I'm gonna die. I could feel him getting closer to me. I could sense a sinister bloodlust overflowing from him. Something cold and solid was pushed into my back. It felt like my wounds were being grilled over hot coals as that cold sensation clawed through them.
よく頑張ったっすね。でもこれで終わりっす。この至近距離で心臓をズドンとやれば、さすがのギガロマニアックスでも死亡確定っすから。
セナ、早く。
Sena only continued to cry. This was it. After all that grinding to get the cheat code, none of it mattered in the end.
くたばれ、クソガキ。
Oh? The sensation on my back suddenly disappeared. I thought I'd just been shot, but it wasn't a gunshot that I'd heard. It was the sound of the air itself shaking.
俺の腕が
White feathers shimmered and danced through the air, but we were underground. There shouldn't have been any birds here. Despite my consciousness turning foggy and the pain ripping through my entire body, I slowly managed to turn around. And there I saw... I knew it.
Rimi.
Though I am kind of surprised.
タク
Clasped in her hands was a sword so elegant, so beautiful, yet its form was unendingly sinister. I'd never seen anything like it. It was Rimi. Rimi, who had disappeared on me before, was here. She looked at me with a smile filled with sorrow. A large quantity of blood poured from the man's arm. Everything from the elbow down had been severed. The hand holding the gun rolled around on the ground. Had Rimi done that?
の甘俺の手をよくは
ナナちゃんにひどいことしたくせに
Rimi.
Rimi avoided my dumbfounded gaze. She simply stood in front of the man shielding us.
早く外へ事情は大体理解してるからノア2を壊して葵さんタク
And that sharp voice brought me back to my senses. But when I tried to move my body even just a little bit, I was tortured by unrelenting pain. I wanted to collapse on the spot. I didn't want to move, I didn't want to think, but most of all, I didn't want to die. My consciousness was fading. I was fully aware of the blood flowing out of the wounds covering my entire body. Despair and the fear of death threatened to overwhelm me, but I fought them back and held on to Sena's shoulders.
クを今のうちに。
すまない西条、私をかばってそんなに。
This is technically the second time that we've saved her here, all on this route. Sena's eyes were clouded with tears. It was the first time I'd ever seen her crying face. I guess even level-headed women like Sena cry sometimes, of course. Everybody cries. I noticed something else as I held her shoulders. Her body was incredibly frail. I was sure that wasn't unique to Sena. That probably applied to all IRL girls, really. Her body was slender as well, something guys also didn't share. On a normal day, she exuded an aura of confidence, arrogance, and so much overwhelming vigor. It felt like she could crush me with it, but at the end of the day, she really was still a girl. It'll be alright, don't cry, Sena. If we just use the cheat code, it'll heal all these wounds in an instant. It has to. Believing that, I grit my teeth and walked forward. Behind me, I heard the sound of a strange mechanical sound and a shrieking resonance entangling with one another, but I refused to look back anymore. Honestly, I don't know who could win that fight because Sua's pretty strong with that porter shit. We made it above ground. A trail of blood marked the path we walked. I had lost a lot of blood. The intense heat I'd been feeling in my wounds had been replaced with an unbearable chill. No matter how much I tried to keep it under control, my body kept violently shivering. My teeth wouldn't stop chattering. Looking up, I saw the planetarium standing before us, but the moment I did, I realized something was off. The surrounding buildings had almost entirely collapsed, and the ones that were still standing were covered in cracks and fissures. And yet the planetarium was completely intact. Not only that, but I thought the building was supposed to have been demolished years ago. But it still stood tall in front of me. Why? Why hadn't I realized this until now? Why hadn't I questioned it earlier? Was this because of some gigalomaniac's power? Or was it Noah 2's doing? At any rate, the reason I noticed must have been because of the cheat code. Now we just needed to activate it, and then we should be able to destroy the planetarium. Without me supporting her any longer, Sena fell to her knees. She was still heartbroken.
Sena, チート使うんだ。
Even talking was agonizing now. Sena looked back and forth between me and the baby, making her look like she was shaking her head no. But all she did besides that was tremble. I was running out of time. My vision was going blurry. If we didn't activate the cheat code, I was gonna die.
西条、しっかりしろ。
I don't think there's too much holding on left to do here.
こんなのって死なないで。
Well, then do something.
お願いだから。なあ、西条。世界は天気仕掛けなんかじゃないんだ。私はただ思い込みたかっただけ。
That's okay, I talk big all the time too.
母さんと妹を見殺しにしかできなかった自分が許せなくて、気持ち悪いと吐いてしまった自分が許せなくて、二人が死んだのも父さんがあんなことしたのも全部信じたくなくて、感情だって捨て去りたくて。だけどダメなんだ。どうやったって父さんを憎んでしまうし、母さんや妹の死んだことが悲しいし、自分が許せないし、この子死なせたくないんだ。
It's dead. Damn it, I couldn't rely on Sena anymore. I had to do it on my own somehow. I reached out my hand to the blood-stained baby Sena was cradling.
貸して。それを。
But Sena refused to let go.
ダメだ、西条、やめろ。
もう死んでるよ。
Taking charge, I wrestled Sena's hands away as she looked at me in horror and forcefully grabbed the baby. It's interesting because I'm sure the whole deal here is for it to, I don't know, would contrast be the right word? Either way, it's supposed to be not a reminiscence, or we'll say contrast. Contrast with what her mother went through. She broke down crying, ignoring her wails. I clutched the baby. Cheat code activate, lend me your power. Oh. Well, there's something. Suddenly, I noticed it. A strange color, shrouded in faint light. A shining sword was lying at my feet. A D sword. Forgetting all about the pain, I took hold of it. Well, this is the second character route, where we've actually gotten our D sword. Despite being so long and gigantic, it was shockingly light. It was almost as if I was holding nothing but thin air. I now knew for sure this was a real D sword. It was no fake. Hot damn, cheat code. I think I finally got my hands on a D sword this easily after struggling to get one for so long. Summoning all my remaining energy, I stood up. My wounds hadn't healed, but I was invincible now. Wounds this bad just took a minute to heal, that's all. Sena was utterly useless now. I'd destroyed Noah 2 myself. I felt power overflowing from deep within, from the very core of my body. I felt like there wasn't anything I couldn't do. I obtained the power rivaling that of God himself. I wonder about that. I brandished my sword. My target was the planetarium, illuminated ominously by the surrounding light. I think the whole deal here is it's not necessarily a cheat code, but somehow we got our D sword. I don't know what activated it this time. And we're so delusional of being invincible that, well, that's what we're real booting. If that's even working. Oh. A gunshot echoed throughout the air. Blood spewed from my chest. Soon after, I was hit with an intense pain. For a moment, I stopped breathing. My vision went black. I had an awful feeling writhing in the depths of my throat, and the taste of blood spread through my mouth as I coughed violently. I don't think Rimi won her fight. And that guy from earlier, had he shot me again? Had Rimi failed to hold him off? I looked around, only to be absolutely astonished by what I saw. There were tons of people, all crowded around me and Sena. They all had dead eyes. They were all holding guns, and they were all aimed at me. Every single one of them was whispering something. Lovely. Well, time to die. They all fired in unison. Countless lead bullets penetrated my body, boring out my flesh, slicing through my bones. I was assaulted by impact after impact. My body danced around by an order not my own, just like a marionette. The pain stabbed at my consciousness. It felt like I was going to pass out.
No.
Even still, I desperately kept standing. My D-sword was still raised high, held aloft in one of my hands. I'll destroy it. I prayed. I'll destroy Noah 2. No matter how desecrated my body is, I won't die. I can't die. I swear, Takumi's always showing up to the final fight, basically dying. I swung down. The D-sword drew a trail of red light. A brilliant flash. Burst into the night sky, the blade of light tore through the endless night, and descended down upon the planetarium dome below. We just used a Getsuga Tensho, didn't we? Only to be deflected by some unseen force. Well, yeah, the Noah 2 can't be destroyed by anything. It was like there had been some sort of invisible wall, The light emitted by the D-sword was reflected, refracted, and dispersed. Silence. Sena, me, and the people who had been shooting at me, we all simply stared dumbfounded. Even with the chi, it didn't work? Was Noah too indestructible? I try again. I couldn't let it end like this. I coughed up blood. Greasy sweat stung at my eyes. I could barely feel the pain anymore. My senses were already starting to disappear. My nerves might have been paralyzed. One more swing. I'm strong. I'm the strongest in the world. My strength stat should be so high, it should be absolutely OP. So I just need one more swing. I raise my sword overhead. I don't think we're gonna live. Along with a woman's scream, they fired wildly once again. Sena covered my body with hers. I guess Sena had saved me this time.
Sena.
私も手伝うよ。
Sena tightly, ever so tightly, embraced my blood-soaked body. She grasped the hand I held my D-sword with. Sena's body was so warm. Hell, it was closer to hot. It had to be the heat of her blood, drawn out by the gunshot wounds that she had suffered just now. The heat of the pulse of life that ran through her body. Oh, I like this. I can't use it for the thumbnail though because of the blood, but that's okay.
お前の覚悟ちゃんと分かったから。怖そう。その子のためにも怖そう。
I'm glad she was able to snap out of it.
二人で力を合わせてお前だけ死なせない。お前だけ無茶させない。私とお前は運命共同体だ。ずっと一緒だ。死ぬ時も戦う時も一緒だ。もうこんな悲しみの連鎖は止めよう。復活とかそんなのどうでもいい。自然の摂理に反することはするべきじゃない。私はただもう憎しみも悲しみも見たくないんだ。こんな世界を見たくないんだ。
That's fair.
お前が傷つくのも見たくないんだ。
I am glad that she did snap out of all that shit and like realize like even from the get-go she was just talking big and thinking big and all that.
あの全ての元凶を。
Sena's voice rang throughout my fading consciousness. So she had finally come back to her senses, huh? Completely exhausted and covered in tears, she shielded an otaku freak like me. And now she was covered in blood. We were both dyed in a deep crimson. But I really did feel her passion. Her voice really did reach me. Alright, Getsugo Tensho. Time for round 2. I don't think it's gonna change anything, but yeehaw. Together we raised the D-sword high. I could still hear the gunshots firing around us. But that wouldn't stop us anymore. My power was overflowing more than ever. I felt a strong life force gushing out of Sena. Yeah, that's her blood. With this godly power, we would destroy the machine that rivaled God on high. This time for sure we would.
行くぞ、西条。
I nodded. Together with Sena, we swung the D-sword down with all of our strength. But did it do anything this time? And right as we did, a flash of light burst forth. A flash of light that tore the very world asunder. A red light that ripped the night sky in two. A red blade that perhaps might even reach the moon. It blew away everything, turning it all to dust. Together with the invisible barrier surrounding Noah 2, the planetarium was reduced to ashes. A massive impact and shockwave burst through the city. It felt like my body was going to be torn apart. The people standing around us were blown away. Even so, Sena and I held each other upright. We both clutched the baby in our arms, shielding it. We'd used every last drop of power we had left. We didn't think about what would come next. As long as we had the cheat code, our wounds would heal. So right now, all we needed to do was destroy Noah 2. With all our heart and soul, we let our power erupt. Oh, I guess it worked this time, I think. Maybe. I don't know why it would. The sounds dissipated and the light along with it. And in the center of that ruined city of death, Sena and I stood tall. Sena clung to my body, and I leaned against hers. And between us, we embraced the bloody baby. I couldn't walk another step. I couldn't make the slightest movement. I didn't have an ounce of strength left.
もういいんだ。悲しいけど。もういいんだ。死んだ人を生き返らせるのなんてエゴでしかないから。チートコードは返そう。
I felt the same way, and because we were alive, we had to live on for the sake of those who died.
ごめん。
Sena softly and gently embraced the bloody baby.
ごめん。死なせてしまって。ごめん。
Sena had cried a lot today, but compared to the usual girl who glared at everyone and everything, the girl whose weakness was on display right now was far more beautiful. Sena's flowing tears were so very beautiful. As those thoughts flowed through my mind, I looked up toward the night sky. And there we go. That's that. You know what? This was an okay route. I do think Kozapi's was, like, way nuttier. But this was good. I liked this. And just like ISA's, I guess we were able to destroy Noah 2. I guess? I mean, there's no follow-up or anything, so I guess it's just, yeehaw, we saved the day. We might die, we might not. Who knows? And that's that. But I think the major point is, like, the events that led up to it. Where in ISA's, well, shit, I don't really know what we gained from that, but, well, you know what? It's her perspective. And here, I guess we also got a little bit of Sena's perspective. And we also got to interact with the Committee of 300, potentially. Also, yeah, there's no way we're living through this shit. They quite literally said that now we're going to die because, well, they're just using us. They're going to do the same thing to us that they did to Sena's father. So, yeah, I mean, I think we already know what the outcome is here. Nonetheless, very interesting turn of events, and yeah, it was fun. I would still rank Kozapi's higher, just because that one was just batshit insane. A really good glimpse at, like, how things could just be easily turned against us. Like, we never had the upper hand, ever. And, yeah, just like that, everything could just fall apart. Our main characters would just, you know, turn against each other, basically, and die. So, I still like that one more. But, this one was good. This one I'd probably rank second. This was a definite good one. A lot of fun. Again, the whole Committee of 300 thing was, that was good. That was really good. If that actually was them. I don't know, you know? But no, this was fun. I wanted to know a little bit more about Sena, and I think we did here. That, I wouldn't necessarily say that she talks big, but she puts herself in a position where she stands tall and believes all this stuff, even so she probably actually doesn't. And that's probably for her own, you know, her own sake, her own sanity. And then she's put in a very similar position as her mother, and then it's like, well,
エラーはすべて消滅。 ノア2と野呂瀬源一の消去も確認したわ。オリジナルの西条拓は確保済み。虫の息だけどね。コピーの西条拓および畑野瀬名は予定通り任務を実行後、共に死んだわ。
Yeah, I mean...
今後も引き続き調査は続行するけど、おそらく畑野瀬名も西条拓もエラーは生み出さなかったんでしょ。それでいいんじゃない？私の仕事も減ったことだし。あ、そうそう。ついでに周りをうろちょろしてた天聖信仰会の信者連中も処分しといたから。崎畑リミには逃げられたみたいだけど、まあ、脅威にはならないでしょ。世界人間牧場計画の予定には若干の修正が必要ね。でも、今回の一連のエラーは計画へと利用を還元できると判断するわ。結果的には300人委員会に何らの不利益も生じない。了解。デバッガード任務は終了します。以後、監視者の役割に戻るわ。
Well, well, well.
あら、この子、生きてるわね。エラーになっちゃうわ。二人が命を与えたのかしら。見なかったことにしますか。私は独身だし、子供はちょっと苦手なんだけど。ミルクは手に入るかしらね。この渋谷で。
Yeah, that is fair. Wow. Huh. That was an interesting little twist there at the end. I wasn't really expecting that. Damn, I can't even remember her name. I'm always forgetting it. Wow. So she's connected. I don't know if she's a member, but it's that's interesting. I have no words. I have no words. Damn it. Why am I always freaking like forgetting her name? Damn it. Oh well. I'm sure it'll come back to me like after I'm done recording, and then I'll just, you know, seem like an idiot as usual, but that was an interesting little twist there at the end. Huh. That makes me think. Guess more reason to jump back into Chaos Child at some point, huh? But yeah, this was well, this turned out to be a really, really beneficial route, didn't it? I'm still gonna rank Kozupi's route higher just because of the batshit insanity, but no, this one's a fucking definite runner-up right there. God damn. Well, we have one more route to do, and that's Rimi's. And well, then I get I guess rank them all. You know what? I was thinking about it. I'm actually gonna rank Nanami's above Yua's. Yua's was just so fucking boring. Like, sure, we got more out of Yua's than we did Nanami's, but at least in Nanami's, I was more entertained and like things were, I guess, happening. Like there was like a little bit of a mystery aspect, I guess. I mean, you could tell what was going on, but goddamn, with Yua's, it's like you just want to put a fucking gun to your head because you were just stuck. I hate that. I hate that so much in these visual novels because just nothing happens at all whatsoever for like way too long. Well, anyways, I've complained enough about that already. I feel like I'm always bringing up Yua's route and I feel bad for it. But yeah, this was a good one. I'm excited for Rimi's and I'm excited for the big final route. 2 more to go. And we almost have all the CGs. We're getting really close. Again, I don't know if we're going to get all of them for the playthrough. There might be some that are with the delusions that I have not gone back and achieved, such as in chapters 8 through 10, which, you know, it is what it is. Actually, I don't think there's anything in 10, but still, there's still some CGs or delusions to get. Some CGs could be in there. And how are we doing on tips? I'm still a little curious on tips. We have all of these that we got solely from this shit. And let's see, I don't think we're done with all the tips. I think we still have maybe 1 or 2 left. Yeah, there's one here in the P's. I may have scrolled through another one here. There's one in the W's. So 2 more? Maybe a 3rd one if I missed one. But damn, yeah, we're we're almost done. This is yet another indication of how close we are to just being done with all this. A big yeehaw for that one, if I do say so myself. Well, thank you all for watching this episode. I hope you all enjoyed. If you did, be sure to leave a like, subscribe, all that fancy jazz. And next time, we'll be trying to jump on over into Rimi's route. I'll see you guys then. Take it easy.